Hey, this is Lewis from the Dollyrots, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
Good, been a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little time for everybody.
Yeah, I was just trying to think. I don't remember when you guys were here. You guys showed up here to cook something.
Yeah, we did. Hey,
Hey,
we made something with a lot of eggs and flour. They were like these, like, I don't know what you even call them. They're like macaroons or
yeah,
something fresh.
that was a number of years ago, though, right?
It must have been like 2019 or 2020.
Wow.
You know, because we were touring behind. I think Daydream was just about to come out or something like that, or like
Wow.
it had just come out. So yeah, that was a while ago, but you know, that was one of the last tours we did
Yeah.
before all this happened. So yeah, well,
Well,
it doesn't seem that long.
No, but good to see anyway, and good to see you still out there doing it. So
Yeah, of course.
you guys, you just finished up a run, or at least partial tour, didn't you?
Yeah, we did the first leg of the Down the Rabbit Hole run. So that was our first like kind of longer tour in 3 years.
What was it like being out there?
Man, we didn't know what to expect because we didn't know if people were going to be like wanting to go out to shows or what, but dude, people are ready to go. It was like attendance was up everywhere. The energy was really good. Overall, it felt really good to get out there and see that people want to see live music.
I mean, I imagine the energy is insane because even as a fan, not a musician, I'm itching to get, and I've been to a few, but itching to get to those shows because it's been a part of my life for so long. So when it's taken away, it builds up. So the energy exchange must be insane.
Oh yeah. And it's like for us, it's like we remained active through the pandemic. Like it was like Kelly's got her radio show every morning. She's got a Sirius satellite radio show. We played like online shows on Stage It. Like we just kept going, doing what we could do. Cause I mean, it's all about that kind of back and forth, and not having that be a part of our like agenda was just, it was, we just had to adapt, so. And I mean, I'm glad we kept going.
Yeah. So how does did you take any different precautions being out on the road, or how do you prepare for like post nonsense, I guess is a good word? Or do you just,
we did a couple short runs last year where we were super worried about, everyone masked, like testing and all that stuff. And then our whole family got Omicron in January.
Oh, wow.
So, and practically all of our crew did as well. It's like everyone we know got that strain. And so we kind of went out with the mentality of like, all right, well, we're vaxxed and boosted and Omicron.
Right.
So it's like we can be a little more, I mean, even the kids got it. So we can be a little more liberal. And so we kind of just took advantage of this might be a little window.
Right.
We got those sweet antibodies, so let's use them. So we were more relaxed about it for sure. It's like, setting up, getting there, doing the thing, and then even like meeting fans after the show, we were okay with that.
That's great, because I know a lot of bands it's part of their contracts where they're not doing that. Like I'm going to see Judas Priest here 2 nights from now here in Washington, and originally it was set up for interviews backstage and this whole thing, and now there's this new, they have it in their riders or in their contracts where they're not allowed to interact with anybody outside of the band, the crew, and they go bus to hotel. That's it.
Yeah. Well, with a tour like that, you imagine you're touring with like 50, 60 people.
Yeah.
And if one person gets it shuts the whole operation down.
Yeah.
And, and they're probably on a longer run too.
Right.
So, I mean, we're getting ready to head over to the UK here in a couple weeks. We're going to the UK with Bowling for Soup and Lit. And that's going to be a tour where we're going to have, Lit. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, they seem like cool guys. We haven't met them yet, but they're Southern California, so we got that sort of thing going for us. But yeah, like that tour is going to be more shut down in terms of people coming backstage, people kind of being around the tour party, because man, if one person gets it, everyone has to like just stop.
Right.
So that's what you're risking. It's like, all right, if one person gets like BA2 or whatever, you got it. I mean, you're not going home, but you're sitting in a hotel room until everyone's clear.
Right.
So yeah, so that's what we're contending with. But I mean, you just kind of have to risk that if you're gonna head out. It's not like a normal tour where, I mean, if somebody literally breaks a leg, then that's one thing. But yeah, but now it's like, oh crap, the guitar tech got tested positive.
Right.
It kind of ruined it for everyone else. So yeah, we definitely have to be careful.
I know you said you were busy during all these last couple of years, but were you able to write music?
That's the one thing that we just, I think touring informs that. We always, like, our cycle for the last like 20 years has been like, we cut a record, we go out, we tour behind it for a couple years, and it's during that time that we write, because it's like you're seeing other bands, you're in front of people, like you're seeing new things. And just being stuck at home with our chickens, it was like not the most inspiring artistic environment. We were like homeschooling our kids and like raising pandemic chickens. Like,
right.
Am I gonna write like a children's country album? So yeah, I mean, the good thing is, like, we have a ton of song sketches done. So it's like we just didn't finish anything. Like there's like 40 or 50 like ideas, like half-baked ideas, that I think now that we're getting back into the groove of stuff, we're gonna start putting together. And the rest of this year is gonna be the new album time.
Right.
So
putting it out. So you're a little behind on getting it out, but I guess, I mean, on supporting it, right? Because it's been out, but that's still kind of cool that you're able to get out there and drum up interest in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What we did was like the last full-length album was Daydream Explosion. I think we interviewed with you around that. So that was like 2019. And then we put out a B-sides collection in January, because it was like, why aren't we like putting these songs out? Like they're just sitting on a hard drive. Like some of them are like 17, 18 years old. And Wicked Cool are the label we've been working with. I had just contacted them saying like, hey, do you guys mind if we use a couple of these tracks that we had put out with you guys or not put out with you guys or whatever? And they're like, why don't you just put this whole thing out with us? And I was like, are you sure you want like a B-sides collection? And they were like, yes, we do.
Nice.
So it's cool. It's a double album, it's like,
I saw there's 24 tracks on it or something, right?
It's insane. Like it's so much music that we didn't even realize we had.
What was it like revisiting? What was it like revisiting those songs after being away from them for so long? I mean, the progression must be tremendous, right?
Yeah, there's that, and then there's also like I remember a lot of these, like I mixed them, or they were just like these things that we would do for fun. We did like a Tom Petty cover or whatever, and it's stuff that like we would do on our own. And I remember being so like hypercritical of it. Some of these songs back in the day. It's like, oh, the snare drum doesn't quite sound right, and now it's like a go back, I play it, I'm like, it was fine. Like, right, I think when you're making music, sometimes you get wrapped up in your own head and you start hearing stuff that nobody else is ever going to hear.
Sure.
It's like, is that background vocal too loud? It's like, nobody cares if the background vocal's too loud, man. So I think it was a good lesson for us in terms of like, not being so critical. Right. And just, if something feels good, it is good. And a song is never finished, it's just abandoned. All those ideas. It's like, just hammer those ideas home.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, any kind of art, right? You don't know. I guess it's the decision of knowing when it's complete and when it's done, because even the painter, right, is probably going, well, I need one more brushstroke there, or I need one more snare hit here, or I need something, and it's got to be
like if you're like baking cakes. It's like anytime you're making something out of nothing, there's no like end. It's just when you decide that good enough or that it's done. And so, yeah. So, I mean, we went back and like, I had to find like the unmastered versions of all these songs. But then they all got mastered together and they sound really good together, like as a collection. So, and I don't know how that happened. I mean, the mastering engineer is, I guess, a genius.
Yeah.
You know, is making something from 2003 sound like something from 2020 is like, I mean, that's a tough job. So
2003, 20 years. You ever imagine you'd still be doing this or making relevant music and touring 20
no.
years later?
No, not at all. No, because we figured like, I mean, at the time, yeah, I guess we thought we'd be doing music, but in reality, the reality of life, it was like, all right, well, eventually we're going to have kids and eventually we're going to have to like somehow join World A to be able to like have a family
Right.
and a yard and all that stuff. And, you know, what would happen was we just kept plugging along and pushing and whatever. And now, you know, this is what we do. It's just we're professional musicians kind of like as a result of not stopping.
Right. So the other interesting thing about that is, so 20 years, you've probably got fans coming to shows that are bringing the next generation, right?
Oh, dude, it's crazy, especially on this last run because it's been a few years since we've gone to a lot of these places.
Right.
And it's like, you'll have people come up to you. And it's like, oh yeah, I became a fan of you guys when I was 10 years old. Here's my daughter. And they look like a regular, almost middle-aged person, you know, like an older millennial. And I'm like, that starts to blow your mind because you're speaking to someone who discovered your band as a child.
Right.
And then they're introducing you to your child. And I'm like, yeah, it's a crazy trip, man. But it's cool to be able to do that because it just means like, oh, there's another generation that appreciates this music.
Right.
And because, you know, as a musician, you're not always seeing that like right in front of you. I mean, you see Twitter posts or Instagram or like whatever. We're not even on TikTok. We should be, but
there's too many of them.
Yeah. So you kind of see that feedback, but to have it right in front of your face is just, it's mind blowing, dude. So, I mean, I'm just grateful that's another reason why I'm grateful we're still doing it. It's because it perpetuates itself, you know?
Yeah. I see that a lot. You know, I'm obviously going to this Judas Priest show. I'm taking my son as well because he's never seen them, but I know there's going to be a million other people that are going to be my age with their, you know, their teenage kids and exposing them to that stuff for the first time. And, you know, hopefully they catch the excitement because I think music, when it grabs you at that young age, it's with you. It's in your DNA.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The best is when somebody's been a fan since they were a kid. Cause it's like, it just means so much more to them, you know? And to be able to play a song live and see somebody's eyes just boom, you know, because it's different to see it live. You can play it on your stereo or whatever all you want, but when you see an artist live, like it can really, I mean, it just all of that emotion, just you can see it just come right back.
How humbling or overwhelming is that when you know, when somebody else's brain lights up while you're playing a song?
I mean, and at that moment, it doesn't feel like it's your song. It just feels like the song has taken on like a life of its own. And it's just, you're not really in your body at that moment. And plus, like a lot of these songs, we've played them like thousands of times.
Right.
So it's almost like your mind is allowed to wander. It's a muscle memory. And it's almost like you're not even there really.
Right.
You know, and music has that power, man. It just kind of becomes an entity unto itself. It's not really, it becomes less intentional and more like you're just experiencing it at the same time as somebody else is because you're not really thinking about it.
Right.
You know, so yeah, but those are special moments, man. And but getting to see that in front of your face is, I mean, that's what it's all about.
I was just talking, we've been doing podcasts all day today, and I was just talking to somebody else, and we were talking about how music has the power, I think, unlike any of the other senses, to take you back to like an exact moment in time. Like the first time you heard that song, or, you know, you can picture yourself listening to it in your parents' driveway, in their car, or whatever. It's the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, it's almost on the level of like scents, you know, like sometimes you like Kelly's got this like perfume that you used to wear when we were teenagers, you know, and she still has that one bottle, and you can't find that stuff anywhere. It's like this, like, I don't even know what it's called, a tar or something like that. You can't find this stuff anywhere. And she has that one little bottle, and like every anniversary she goes, she puts a little bit on, and I'm like, oh my God, it takes me right back to being like 15 years old, you know?
Crazy.
But yeah, music does that. I mean, even when like, sometimes we have to go back and listen to our stuff to be able to remember the words in advance of a tour, because it's like, you know, there's a lot of words at this point.
Right.
You know, we put out a lot of records. There's a lot of words. And it even happens with like our own stuff. You know, it's like I'll go back and I'll play like something off of, you know, Because I'm Awesome or A Little Messed Up or whatever. And I'm like, dude, like that's crazy that happened.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you feel like that energy from that time. And yeah, I can totally appreciate that, man. I mean, yeah, especially when it hits you when you're younger too. That's when it really grabs you.
So here's one that kind of has nothing to do with the Dollyrots, but yourself. It's everyone has sort of, or I think everyone sort of has that aha moment, like the first record they picked up with their own money, or the first record that you bought that is like the one that sent you on a journey. So for me, I'm into the more heavier stuff, and I just remember being in high school or something, and this little record store opened across the street from the high school, and I went in one day, and Diary of a Madman was on the shelf from Ozzy, and the cover intrigued me. But the first time the needle hit, I was totally sent on this journey. It just got in my blood. You have one of those?
Yeah. Well, I have two. Okay, so there were like two stages to this, where like I went from being like a, you know, into like pop music and like, you know, radio music, top 40, whatever, as a kid, because you don't know any better. And I remember a friend of mine gave me a Four Non Blondes tape. I remember thinking to myself, oh, what is this? This is like kind of like drums and, you know, whatever. It wasn't synthetic. I remember sitting on that school bus putting on What's Up, and it just like, I'm looking out the window and everyone's coming out to the school bus from the high school, and it just hit me. It's like, what's going on? You know, because you're like 14 years old or whatever. And it just like, that struck me as like, what's going on? Wait, what is going on?
Right.
Like, this world, it makes zero sense, man. Like, and so that kind of like began the process of like, okay, appreciating alternative rock. And it's like that led to like, I wanted the Breeders, you know, I wanted Nirvana. It was like, and so that began the position into like wanting to understand this culture. Right. Like understanding something that was like felt at the time like a counterculture, because we were like children of the 90s, you know, so it almost had that like hippie punk mentality, right?
Yeah.
Then a few years later, it's like in a zine or something, I saw an ad for the Donna's first record, you know, the one that like the poorly produced one with amazing songs.
Right.
And yeah, I remember picking that up, and that was the moment where I realized, oh, you know, me and Kelly could do this. Because it was basically like female Ramones, like super simple, 2-3 chords. And it was like, you know, that record, they never made another record like that. But that record was like textbook definition Ramones with a girl singer. And so that kind of put us down the path of thinking, oh, we can do this too, you know?
Right.
Like the same moment that I'm sure like millions of like other people got when the Ramones first came out, where it was like, oh, if these four guys can do this, I can definitely do this, you know? Like, you don't need to be like a musical genius to make rock and roll. So yeah, those two.
Unfortunately, Lewis is.
I'm not.
I gotta go to the dentist and I'm late.
No worries. Good seeing you.
But I'll see you.
See you later. Yeah, she got a dentist, but you know, dentist appointments were few and far between the last few years. So like,
yep, that's nice. We're all back up to normal. I don't have anything else. Did I miss anything you want to cover?
I don't think so. I mean, I think just like if people want to check out our new B-sides collection, people are really liking it. We're playing it on tour. We're going to the UK in a couple weeks. And then we're planning to go out west in June and possibly up the East Coast in July.
Oh, nice.
And so we're going to be active, and then, just kind of like moving into the fall, we'll start working on a new record. And I don't know, we'll continue to make music.
That's beautiful. And it's nice. We're on the I think the outside of all this nonsense now. So maybe we'll be able to catch you here in Richmond again, or in Virginia anyway.
Yeah. Probably July. That's the plan. So
that would be sweet.
Yeah.
Well, cool. It was good seeing you again, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, you got it, dude. Yeah, always.
Hey, be well, my friend.
Hello out there. Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's Magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.